Alright, g'day guys and welcome back to another episode. You're probably wondering how I got this big juicy crayfish in my hand, so we'll rewind a little bit, I'll roll in some clips, and while you guys are watching that, I'm going to prep some food. Alright, so we're back to basics for this one. We've left the freezer at home and we're doing the old trusty shore dive down here. We don't often do this, but I was restricted by time, just a quick afternoon dive, so I wanted to make most of it and spend as much time in the water as possible. As soon as I got into the water, I was greeted by a couple sharks. So I went down and had a quick play, and then this one came in as well, which looked a bit skinny. First drop of the day is just warming up the lungs, getting a feel for the area. Obviously it's pretty quiet on this one, but you just want to drop down, get to the bottom and see if there is actually any fish sitting around, milling around on the bottom, because quite often you can't see them from the surface, especially in poor visibility like this. Working my way out deeper, I sort of lost sight of the ground, so I was using these big bombies to navigate out to a bit of deeper water. I often use this technique in poor visibility as a way of navigating and keeping your bearings and staying orientated so you can properly scour an area. Dive down to check a few cracks and hey presto, what do you know, there's a whole bunch of crays sitting in here. So without going in and getting too keen straight away, I sort of get some footage and back out and kind of search around the rest of the rock, because where there's a few crays, there's always more crays. And I like to suss out the area before going grabbing, because you never know what opportunities you could miss. There could be some easy crays to grab, there could be some hard crays to grab. And quite often when you go and start grabbing, you disturb the nest, they all start freaking out and retreat back to their holes. You can see here there's quite a good nest with a couple of crays way back in the cave, and it was pretty good to see, especially on a shore dive. So I was just again sussing them out, didn't want to get too keen and too carried away straight away, so I just wanted to take my time, enjoy it, and build myself up for a couple of grabs. I decided I was going to come in and try and get this one from the back, but to be honest I was pretty nervous. I hadn't grabbed the cray for a while and I probably hesitated a bit too much, and he caught on to me and sort of flicked away, so I missed that opportunity. Fortunately for me, he didn't spook the other crays too much, and I was able to get around the other side and make the next grab count. Unfortunately, he dropped a couple of legs, and I'm not diving with a catch bag today. I'm using one of these monofilament nooses, so any lost legs, pretty hard to take home with you. But these are awesome little contraptions. It means there's less drag in the water. It's light, it's easy, it packs down real small, and you just noose around the tail of the crayfish and they just stay there. Having no drag in the water on your float is a big game changer. When I started spearfishing, I would always be towing around a big catch bag or a big float, and it's unreal how much extra drag that stuff adds to you, especially when you're doing big dives, big swims. Okay, so I spent a bit of time sussing out the area and it's time to get into it now. So I make another dive, look for another cray. I came into this crack and I found a nice big buck just sitting there with his back to me, so I just went in for the tail grab. As you can see, I was pretty stoked with that fish. That's an awesome crayfish to get off the shore down here, and I mean, it's an awesome crayfish to get anywhere, so I was absolutely stoked with that one. It'll be some good eating. Had a bit of relaxed time on the surface, get my breath back, and made another dive to suss out another area. There's a couple more crays there, but I decided to leave those ones be and see if I could get some easier grabs. After all I wanted was a feed, and I don't want to disturb them too much because this might be a good spot to come back to. Swam around the other side of this rock where I saw one of the crows first off and found this guy. He was out the front, but he had a long way to go behind him, so I went for the round the back double-hander. He slipped my grip, but I managed to grab him at the back of the cave, and while I was doing so, somehow I managed to put my GoPro into time-lapse mode, so the next bit of footage is a bit all over the place. But that's 3 crows anyway, pretty happy with that. So I decided to leave that as it is and see if I could spear a fish on the way back in. After fiddling with the GoPro, trying to get it back into normal video mode, I mismounted it back on my head, and this can be really frustrating. I'm sure you divers know what I'm talking about because it's so hard to get that perfect angle, and it's the difference between getting footage and not getting footage. So unfortunately, this fish did not make it onto the camera. Nice copper moki there anyway. Don't see them that often around here, but this is one of the places where I have seen them regularly, but they're not a super common fish. Pretty cool looking, nice colours on them, and not too bad eating. Alright guys, we're all packed up. Let's chuck the Crocs into 4-wheel drive mode and get back to the car. Alright, so we're going to make some popcorn crayfish wraps. This is probably one of my favourite ways to eat crayfish, and the kids absolutely love it. So what we're going to do is rip the tail off. We're going to go up and around that skin, break that membrane, pull the tail off, save the body and the legs for another meal. And we're going to dice this up, roll it in some breadcrumbs, a bit of secret seasoning, and we'll get that cooked up, put in some wraps with some salad, some good stuff, and boom, good to go. So we're just going to put the knife in around the top and around the bottom, and then you just twist and pull. Boom. Bit of poo tube there. No, we're not going to eat that. But we're just going to save that for another meal. There's a head, body, heaps of flavour and food still left in that, so don't throw that away. That's going to be used for another meal. Then we're going to get 2 meals out of this one cray and go right down the middle. Yeah, spin it around and go all the way up the top. And we can open it up. Just get a fork in, break it away from the shell, and pull it out. Just like that. Right, so now you've got 2 beautiful halves of a tail, and we're going to dice those up and get them seasoned up. Alright, so we've got our crayfish cut up, all diced up, nice and ready to go. What are we going to do now? Wash our dirty pan from this morning. Alright, well that's going. I like these whole grain breadcrumbs because they're coarse, they go crispy, but they get a good coating because they're not too big. I do like panko, don't get me wrong, but the panko seems to not bind that well unless you're using a binder like an egg, whereas this stuff gets a real good coating and doesn't peel off as easily. And we're just going to go hard on this. And a bit of our secret white powder. Don't be shy with that stuff because that makes it delicious. Bit of salt, chuck it in there. Sizzle, sizzle. Get that sizzling away. Man, that's looking good. I'm going to whip out one of our wraps. Right, so we're going to go red onion, bit of lettuce from the garden, bit of coriander from the garden. Sprinkle that on it. And then wasabi mayo. I'm not sure how I'm going to mix this up because I wasn't so prepared for this. Maybe I'll just mix it up on the side of the wrap. Bit of wasabi. Spread that around. There's a bit of this pickled ginger. Bit of sweetness, bit of spice.
Oh, goodbye.
That is absolutely beautiful looking. Look at that, beautiful crispy crumb crayfish, garlic, homegrown lettuce, coriander, wasabi mayo, pickled ginger and some red onion. Let's give it a crack, see how we go. Mmm. That is so good. That is so good. That is delicious, man. So this is probably the first shore dive you've seen me do for a very long time. And it's because I've got the boat. The reason I've got the boat is a tool to access parts of the water that I can't usually access by land. But I do love shore diving. The simplicity of it, the ease of it, it's cheap. A crayfish like this from the shore is worth 100 from the boat. It's so much more rewarding, and it just feels a lot more natural walking down the beach, getting in the water without doing big missions and burning heaps of dinosaurs trying to get to a spot. Anyway guys, we're gonna have a munch. The kids are out collecting pine cones for a fire tonight so we can roast some marshmallows. But once again guys, thanks for watching. There will be some more videos coming out. I've had a lot of people asking me about spearfishing training tips and tricks, and I've even had people asking me to train them up. I don't really have time for that, but what I can do is make some videos that have some basics, some basic breathing techniques, diving techniques, and then moving on to targeting various species. If you guys are interested in that, let me know. Maybe leave something in the comments below what you want to learn, what you want to know more about. Hopefully over the next few months I'll get some content out there for you guys. Okay, we're out of here guys. We're going to do some quick driving lessons, but we'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Hit the subscribe button if you want to see more, and we'll see you in the next one.
Daddy, will you do? Daddy, wow.
Where you going? Where you going? Turn. Okay, we're gonna hit second gear. You ready?
Yes, I am ready.
Ah, the tree. No. All right, we're not gonna hit second gear. We're not gonna hit second gear. That was a bad idea.